Me and my husband are big Tolkien fans. We also watch the movies rather often. This is why I wasn't surprised when a few months before my husband's birthday, he turned to me and said, "If anyone ever asks you what to get me for my birthday, you can send them this link." And he showed me the flag of Boromir, but a cheap printed polyester version. Well, I consider myself presented with a challenge. Can I make him a version that looks more authentic? I really like the look of hand-sewn flags, so I wanted to try and see if I could make it by hand. To make the template, I started by choosing how long I wanted the flag to be. I searched for a picture from the flag and calculated the proportions of the elements on the flag in regard to its length. Here you can see the proportions of some points in the template. If you want to make one yourself, you can calculate their location by multiplying them with the length that you choose for your flag. By connecting the points on the template, like you see here, you end up with the final shape of Boromir's flag. First, I started with the emblems. For this, I looked in my fabric stash to see if I could find pieces of fabric in the correct colors. I chose to work with only cottons. Since one color was missing, I dyed a piece of cotton green with powdered fabric dye. Problem solved. Then I drew all the emblems out in the size that I wanted them to be. As a base for the emblems, I used a black fabric. I then traced the small colored parts from the drawing to then make them into a stencil. These stencils I used to trace the correct shape onto the fabrics. From the fabrics I would fold in the edges and secure them with a little thread, to then keep them in place when I want to sew them onto the black fabric base. I traced some positioning lines on the black fabric base to help me find the correct position for the smaller colored pieces. And then, with very small stitches, I started the long process of attaching all the colored pieces to their base. I use this technique because I want to end up with the looks of these old hand-sewn flags that you can see in museums. Most probably there would be more suitable techniques to come at the same result, but I just improvised my way out, as usual. Only for this emblem, I chose to work with a colored base. And here you have the finished emblems. Personally, I was rather surprised of how they turned out. Maybe one day I will make some more to make other Lord of the Rings themed items. A pillow maybe?
Or pocketses on a dress brushes.
Then I attached the emblems to each other. Because these stitches will be covered by a piece of fabric, I did them by machine. My search for gold fabric took a few weeks. I just couldn't find anything that wasn't too shiny or sparkly for my taste. So, after some trials, I decided to go with a black fabric that I would paint gold with fabric paint. Also, these parts I sew by hand. Then I moved to working on the Tree of Gondor. First, I drew the tree on some scrap paper. Then I traced it onto a big piece of thin interfacing. This would help me to get the drawing on the fabric. It also stabilizes the fabric. This is needed because the design of the tree is very complex and narrow, so it's very prone to losing its correct shape. I cut out the interfacing shape so that it would be easier to later fold over the edges of the fabric. When I pinned the tree on the flag, I noticed that it didn't hold its position that well. So I decided to first attach it with a quick loose stitch. Like this it wouldn't move around while I attach all its edges with small stitching. Then, for the leaves, I first traced their position. And then I attached them with the same small stitch. Next, I worked on the fly end of the flag. I started by tracing the design on the flag. Then I looked for a knitted lint. These have more stretch to them. This means that you can form curvy shapes with them without creating folds. I cut the lint into the required length. And because I was running out of time, I attached them to the flag by machine with a zigzag stitch. Since Boromir's flag is trimmed with gold trim, I attached a bias tape that I would later paint gold. Boromir's flag in the movie is attached to the staff with some lint. But I would like to hang this flag on the wall, so I tried to make some headers that would complement the rest of the flag without drawing too much attention. This is the paint that I will use to paint the gold parts of the flag. It applies well, but is not too opaque. Like this, I can let the black from the fabric come through a bit. This gives the fabric a bit of an antique brassy look. Finally, I attach the headers to the flag. Here I paint the last bits. The reason why I paint everything afterwards is because the paint would have made the fabric stiffer and hard to sew with. Now that everything is already sewn, it doesn't matter. And now it's done. Thank you for watching. And if you would like to see some more Lord of the Rings content, let me know in the comments. I wish you a lovely day.
For God